For our group social psychology presentation, we wanted to examine confirmation bias and overconfidence, especially when it relates to how we interact with the news media. And so we designed an experiment to see how people would fall prey to confirmation bias while being given the identical articles but given from opposite biases. To do this, we used an article entitled "Men or Women, Who is the Better Leader?" This article detailed a survey put forth by the Pew Research Center for Social and Demographic Trends back in 2008. The survey showed that on a list of 8 traits considered very important or essential for leadership, that women scored higher than men or equal to men for 7 of these traits. We then flipped the article so that it had the opposite message, that men scored higher than women or equal to women on 7 out of 8 traits necessary for leadership, while adjusting some words to make it still believable. We had each of our participants read one of these 2 articles, and then we asked them a few questions. Here are their answers.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where 5 is an average college student, how would you rate your own leadership ability? 3.7. Really? Thank you for the very specific feedback.
Probably a 4.
4.
A 5. A 5. 5. Just average. Like a 5.
5.
6. 6.
6.5.
Like a 7.
7.
A 7.
7.
7.
7.
Like an 8. Like a 10, to be honest.
10.
I lead way too much. 20. No, I'm kidding. 8.
This is an example of overconfidence. Only 3 of our participants said that they were below average, and everybody else said that they were average or above average. But of course, not everybody can be above average. The next question I asked was, why might there be less women in leadership roles? I asked this question because I was curious if those who had read that women had stronger leadership traits might give an answer like this.
Gender inequality.
Social norms that we came out of.
And that those who read that men have stronger leadership traits might give an answer like this.
Because most aren't as harsh as men.
I feel like females are kind of more complicated and we add a little bit more flavor, you know, and males are kind of straight to the point because they don't give 2 flying figs.
In reality, though, participants' answers had no relation to their own gender or to the article they read. So although no confirmation bias can be seen here, I still found it interesting that half of people blamed the lack of female leadership on society, while the other half simply believed that women's strengths lie somewhere other than leadership. Finally, we let our participants know that the purpose of our experiment was to find confirmation bias, and that there were actually 2 opposing articles, and we asked what they thought about it. We got a few interesting responses. For example, there were a few that couldn't believe that women are thought to possess better leadership traits, even though that is true according to our findings.
Honestly, I probably would have been surprised about the other one. I was like, that's interesting that people have the opinion that women are more, I can't say more better, but you know what I mean?
More than that, just the numbers being all like weird. I'm like, not great.
Wait, which one did you get?
The women.
Women are better.
Yeah.
So that was actually the original article. This is a real article that you read.
Really? But the way they presented all the statistics was like, I don't know, maybe I'm just bad with numbers, but.
No, I got the article that women were better than men, and I was instantly skeptical.
One person thought that they had heard the fake article before.
From the article I read,
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard information that kind of aligned with it. So for some of it, I was like, I feel like I've heard that before.
For sure.
And my favorite response,
I got the men are better leaders.
Men? Okay, yeah. So that was actually a fake article.
Oh.
So knowing this, do you think you might have fallen prey to the confirmation bias?
I would say most likely. I think in the beginning the graphs and the fancy charts really got me like, oh, okay, this must be legit, you know, because this has to be like. But I also read that like according to most adults, I was like, adults, like was it a survey or like I don't know, that kind of like ticked me off a bit because I figured it maybe it's not like it didn't seem as accurate, but I let the charts and all the fancy stuff get the better. Yeah.
something that was interesting was that a lot of people seemed to misunderstand what confirmation bias meant. They thought that confirmation bias meant changing your opinion based on what you read.
I don't think it changed my opinion. I'm very skeptical about any article I read.
No,
Alright.
stuck with my
When in reality, it's the opposite. It's not changing your personal opinions, even in the face of quote unquote real evidence.
Confirmation bias being what exactly?
Like
Like it's confirming my own biases.
Yeah.
This might be because I worded my question in a confusing way, but it also might be that confirmation bias is a buzzword that people use without really knowing what it is. Overall, I designed this experiment very poorly. I mean, it didn't even show us the results we wanted to see about confirmation bias that well, and I mean, the questions were not that... Wait. We were the ones who fell victim to confirmation bias all along. We wanted our participants to give certain answers that would prove our hypothesis instead of simply letting the data speak for itself. So we were their lab rats all along.